Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 36 of Yokeley, our vanilla CS2 build. If you're having a wonderful day. The update has happened since we last recorded an episode, giving us wonderful new textures, which I think today we'll spend a bit of today's episode reforming a little bit of the grossness that we can now, for example, change here. There is a full video up on the channel if you're interested in seeing exactly what has changed with this particular patch, but it is most splendid and tremendous, allowing us to paint in surface texture. I really hope this expands into painting a little bit of asphalt around. Maybe other surfaces. Let me know what else you guys would like to see in this surface painter. But a little bit of dirt and sand under our interchanges goes an enormously long way, doesn't it? Just for giving us that difference in texture. Look how much better that looks right immediately. Holy smokes. Like, not only have they finally given us a texture surface painter, but they've done a really good job of it as well. I love the way they overlap. The strength percentage is just wonderful. Really good update for the game. If you haven't checked it out yet, I would advise that you do. Either way, last episode I asked you guys for advice on what we want to do with this couplet system, currently the Brookhaven and Sycamore highways, linking into the major interchange on the edge of downtown. With the idea, we need some more trams, do we? Yes, we do. Today we'll put a tram depot in. Unless, do we have upgrades for this tram depot? Garage extension. There you go. That should help you all. Did that work? Did that fix you? Yeah, it did. Wonderful. There you go. Problem solved. Yes, but by the major highway interchange, I think I am going to bring some slip lanes off to serve this interchange, but not all directions served. For example, I don't think there's much need for people to come down the hill to be able to join the highway turning right, because they can get onto that over here. So I don't think there's really a need for that particular connection. But certainly some of them, I think, are justified, which is where we'll start today's episode. So I'm going to start with a single one-lane, one-way highway, and I'm going to bring this up to 8 meters or so. I think these ramps are set at, aren't they? And let's find a place where we can come off here. How about around here? And then I'll pass over this particular bridge, making sure, of course, we can actually clear it. So what's that there? It's actually 16 meters. They're quite tall, these ramps, aren't they? And 0.2. Yeah, I think I'm going to be happy with that particular approach. I might adjust the approaches in an eventual network time lapse, maybe. This is then going to come off and come all the way back down to the ground to 0 meters, and then bring this level with the terrain 0.2. Looks like where I can get it. So this is going to allow people traveling from all these networks over here in the port and this outside connection, and to be able to reach this bit of the city without having to pass through Lower Benedict, which currently has a massive death issue, doesn't it? So we'll build a cemetery today in the new bit of town. Looks like we could do with a new one. Wonderful, that's good. So let's now pick out this level here. We want to come in with quite a large slope brush here, and we want to come up. Let's trim this back a little bit. I'm going to grab this particular layer, and I want a lot of this to just come up. Yeah, we're actually going to eat into quite a bit of terrain there, which is fine by me. Go for a much larger brush size as well, I think, actually. Without changing the target height, let's go up for like 300. And I just want to ease a little bit of this out, just so it's not as immense as it currently is, because this is a big chungus hill over here. Okay, doesn't have to be loads, and then a little bit of soften just to ease out any nastiness. So these are going to be some severe mountain roads, and I'm always going to treat this as a little bit of a couplet system, throwing through what will be a pretty steep highway suburb. I mean, we can go ahead and check the gradient here of what houses are going to be sat on. 13.8%. It will actually tunnel in some instances through that terrain. So working with the contour lines around here are going to be really important. But this will be a separate build. We'll be working up here today. So again, another direction I want service is heading eastbound. I think it'd be good for them to come up here, in which will save them having to come off the highway and go up through Upper Benedict, right? So that's really what I want this traffic flow system to take the pressure off, is basically anything that's affecting Lower Benedict is what we want to sort out today. So let's make sure we can cross the road. I actually wonder if you can just come straight up into this bridge. That's at a 4.8% gradient. I don't mind that connection there at all, but I think I just want it to have a little bit more space to flow. And then just peel that up if we can. Again, this is where CS2's road tools are absolutely gorgeous. We'll do 3.8%. And then we can upgrade this section at the end into 2-lane. And then it will probably remain 2-lane, I think, for its duration up the hill. Sweet. So let's get this first one up, and then we'll decide how the one that's coming back down the hill is going to join this interchange as well, because it's going to have to provide some sort of directionality at least. So that road is now hooked in. It'll be quite interesting just already from today's build to see how much traffic this siphons from all these internal roads around here. Just thinking about this road here as well. I think I might even add in a connection here. Let's bring our topography lines back on. So we're going to send this up the hill. Again, a pretty horrendous gradient. And then as this couplet begins to form, so we'll have something that looks... Let's just set up this exact bit of it here. So we'll do something about that distance apart probably. And then that can connect in with here. And then we can provide a more local road connection that joins the couplet in some fashion like that. So it'll sort of be functioning a little bit like Orchid Bay's couplet system. For those that follow my Cities Skylines 1 content. So yeah, I mean, I guess all these guys will have their paths predetermined since they've already spawned. So we'll have to wait a few minutes, I think, before anyone wants to take this. But it is a route up to the airport for them now, if they want to stay on there. So we'll see. Yes, there you go. Fantastic. As I say it, they start using it. Great stuff. So it's not too horrendous. The gradient police might have a problem with this today, but I'll fight them off in the comments. The other connection can just go all the way back up the hill, mirroring that one. That's no problem. The next challenge we have is finding out a way to merge this road onto the network. So in terms of which way I want it to go, going that direction isn't necessarily important, again, because it's a one that's served by this one over here. But I think sending them across the river here, so joining up with this slip road, is going to be my best bet, I think. So let's see what we can do with that. So from this one here, I'm going to bring this over. Let's start to elevate. Now what I'd love is if I can get... Yeah, I don't want to connect to there. Is there any chance I can bring that slip lane higher? I mean, it is. It's got plenty of room to maneuver this particular lane. But that's really what's blocking my current connection. So I'm going to have a bit of jiggery-pokery and see if we can get this to work. That's actually a 1.2% decline there, which is a much easier connection to make. Because I really want to retain the shape of this intersection here over anything today. And then the lane that's not being used, I'd love to have probably just come down the hill into here. I don't really want to send it any other direction. And that direction's serviced by other connections, as is that one. But then they can come down here to get back on this high-speed road, which also introduces them to these other slip ramps here, and this other national road if that's a connection they want to make. So I think that's what we'll do with that. And possibly upgrade to 2 lanes down the bottom as well, but we'll make a new node. Just so we can have the 2 lanes at the bottom there. And then this one here, I'll just reinstate this off camera, because this is probably going to take all my might to get this back over this slip ramp. It's always fun building interchanges without anarchy, but we'll see what happens. That's just doing it by its own accord. Oh no, it did intersect, didn't it? That's incredibly dangerous. I can't do it like that. So I'll fix this here. Okay, I think that's going to work. It went up to 20 meters here to pass over this lane here, but collision meshes are really determining just how high I can bring those roads. But that'd be great. In fact, we just saw this guy turn off to come down here. I'm not sure if I'm happy about that. There's a few of them using that connection, isn't there? Just want to observe how they're using the roads here. Plenty of them coming off this direction though. Yeah, see, I don't love this left turn to come back down onto the road. I might actually eliminate that. Yeah, but there you go. Now you can see how they're using it. Super. So we'll get this one also hooked in at the top of the hill, and then we'll see just what sort of impact this is actually going to have on traffic in Upper Benedict specifically, which is the whole point of these relief roads here. So both tracks are starting to pick up traffic now, which is making me very happy indeed. I think it'll be a while before we see the impact on the streets of Upper Benedict. Specifically the traffic we had here last episode. Which is already looking a little lighter, I guess. I'm not totally dissatisfied with this. In fact, it's really clear. it's a lot of immediate traffic fix, everyone. Sorted. No problem. Problem solved. Wonderful. Okay. I'm sure that's just due to a time of day thing. It is 8 o'clock at night, so the arterial roads aren't the busiest they're ever going to be. Rush hours and, I guess, timed traffic simulation is something to consider in Cities Day. So with this, I'm going to come back to the start of the road here, where that new couplet system joins up with the top of the hill. And I'm going to bring this up to 8.75 meters, which should get us across the road. And then this again is going to run through as couplet through the current road frame, which again is only really skeleton. It's all subject to change. But the idea of what I want to do here is run this couplet system, which I might actually downgrade into its own networks at this point. So I'm going to come ahead and grab 2-lane road here. This is going to go across pretty much in a straight line before it joins up with this. And then this will become one-way network up to the airport and form a significantly wider couplet system through this neighborhood, because you can see where this runs back to the arterial. So we can have that one-way flow system. We do have power lines here, which are causing us issues. Just delete those temporarily. I'm not even sure if they're even powering anything. They might just be aesthetic. Knowing me, they probably are. I was like, yep, but I'll have some power lines there, despite the fact no one actually needs them. And we'll have this one-way system flow. And same mirrored the other side. This road, then just before the couplet system hits the other different type of road, we'll curve it off. So now you can see how from whichever direction traffic is coming from, be it kind of west to southbound via this direction, or north and south here. The idea is that we're just taking pressure off of already stressed arterial systems, especially down this one, the road to Upper Benedict, because it's not a really big road, this one. From where it actually joins here, bearing in mind it also has another highway hooked into it here as well. Again, it's kind of midnight, well, 9:30 now, so it's not the busiest. As I'm trying to talk about how busy the traffic can be, it's actually very good at the minute, but it does get bad. And then this is the road. It's just a simple 2-lane road with cycling on it. That is required to handle an awful lot of traffic. But rather than one more lane bro it, I think just by taking off some pressure, we can probably make it a lot better. And it's good to see all this has calmed down now as well. This bus station was really slammed last episode, wasn't it? So that's good to see. Let's turn our attention up toward this town here. So a pretty pressing issue at the minute, beside air pollution and garbage, specifically for Upper Benedict, is waiting for hearses. There's quite a lot of them here. So let's have a look at our death care, shall we? So we'll come into crematorium availability is middle of the light green. And cemetery availability is at 79%, which isn't the worst. But we certainly want some extra crematorium space up here. So I think to open up the new town, which will be consisted of many different things in today's episode, residential. A lot of residential actually, because another issue we're having is not enough customers over here as well. So more population is needed, so lots of residential today. But I just want to flatten out a bit of an area. Now I'm not going to have it look this obnoxiously terraformed, don't worry. I will behave myself with this hill. I won't go too much with the flattening. But what I do want to place here is the Dutch cemetery, which is going to overlook the whole town here, which is why I wanted to terraform that little plateau off. I'm going to have it somewhere there, I think. Now I do want to take away some of those trees just so we can see out of view. And I'm almost treating this as kind of like maybe even one of those war memorial graves that you see a lot across the world, with just the simple white graves on them, from the 2 world wars, and I'm sure other wars as well. But that kind of grandiose hilltop view, which is in quite dark shade at the minute, but that overlooks the whole city, so like a really nice hilltop cemetery, that the town can kind of revolve around and give us a bit of, just a bit of a point of interest really, alongside the arterial road and for the town itself. So let's give this a road connection. And we'll come into side to the side of the building with an actual road. Use this one here. And then this junction is most likely going to be the best. I'll draw it out from there so I can connect it in here. Keeping 90 degrees from the arterial road. And lots of tree line in here. Super landscape today. We'll go tree line sidewalks everywhere. And we'll get some probably big adult oaks tucked in here as well. We'll go for an adult oak. On each side of the road could argue it's a bit much. Maybe hickories might work better. But they double lined. The oaks just kind of collide into each other a bit too much, don't they? So first of all, before we start drawing out the pathways here, I want to see what the placement range is like on the burial site fillers. If I place this hillside, it does terraform a little bit, but it's not the worst. So if we ease out this hill, we'll hardly notice that little lip that it leaves. So let's bring that up to the building. And that's what I'm really looking at, really. I want the building at the back, at least, to kind of start, well, be where the hill starts. So like the final contour line, basically the back there. But only on the back of the building, to stress that, because I do want to use some of the larger structures, which I think will too badly deform the terrain. I wonder, do the wide pavement paths attach to the graveyard? They do indeed. I'm going to take advantage of that then. Before that though, I'm actually just going to place in burial site fillers on the very edge of the range of the building on all 4 corners, just so I know how much room I have to play with there. Which is that you can hardly see them. Can do. So it's not the best marker I've ever placed, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Right, cool. So I'm going to bring this big, thick pathway down. And let's send this out to the sides. I'm actually going to measure how much I'm doing there. So I'm going to do 100 meters either side. And then that second burial site is just in the grid, where the grid changes colour, actually, is an easier indicator of where that is. And then I want to draw that up by, let's say, 268 with a 135 degree angle. That looks to be mostly the same there. And then all the side pathways. And then again, I think I'll keep the whole outer rim of the park actually as wide gravel pathway. Sweet. So that'll give me that general area. And then from these, I'm going to come up. I'd love to actually place one of the big buildings here. Or have hearse garages for sure. Maybe even having these as a frontage off of the main road here. But specifically the columbariums and houses of remembrance, etc. I would love to have over here. So I'm going to draw out 20 meters on the middle pathway node. I'm going to try to keep my thought process quite unedited here with this as how I want it to be mapped out. And the house of remembrance to sit on those. It allows one of those. That's fine then. I'll tell you what, change the plan then. Straight down the middle if we could only have one of them. So let me move it from here. Again, I'm going to draw out 20 meters. I'm trying to keep all the measurements uniform so everything will look nice in the final design. And this can come over here. And then you can see where that'll just jump back in to this one here. Yep, just some terrain fighting us. And then either side of the house remembrance will have large ponds, and those 20-meter measurements we had there. We'll then have the burial site. I'm going to do 3 of these. Followed by a burial site junction. I'm going to hook another one in on the opposite orientation. And then double back up with my straight burial sites there. And then with that one won't go down, which is fine. I will just have a corner arc back to the main pathway. And then repeat that out the other side as well. So that'll give us some really nice symmetry to start playing with as the site develops here. And I'm going to carry that theme on with the path network, creating perfect curves, again from all this perfectly measured stuff, as we come around here. And then from these ones, I think I'll just start forking them all out, and then we can place the rest of the graveyard really with the burial site fillers. As well as to make sure we want to note here what angle we're going off at. So we're at 43 meters at 141 degrees. Same again on that side. Just had to turn off snap to existing geometry for that one. So something that's going to look like this. And then with the rest of the burial sites here, just place these in. Essentially following the contour lines. And whatever sort of, probably go for back to back really. If we start doing too many of them, we'll have too much pathway in the graveyard, which will be not the vibe I want. He says having just drawn in a lot of pathways, but it will get used. A little bit dehumanized here as well. Imagine sort of this site is quite old. I wonder if we can actually get small column variant here. Or I guess we can if we just do a tiny little mini path. Something like that. Yeah. Because that'll give us almost like this. I'll make sure I clear the view from this. But yeah, like almost like a little memorial wall overlooking the whole city, which will have to clear out quite a bit of forest to get that view. Or I just need to lower this shoreline down a little bit. That'll probably help it. Or this cliff edge behind the houses. Now, we don't have the tombstones in the prop menu yet, not in vanilla anyway. But there are certainly some props you can use as gravestone substitutes if you want to do some of your own sort of fancier grave detailing. Even some of the chimney pillars might work somewhat nicely for it. If you've got the UK pack. But otherwise, if you get a Find It, you'll get all the tombstones. You could also use rocks as well, I suppose, if you wanted to. But again, functionality will come with the burial site placements. For those other buildings on the cemetery I wanted to use, I wouldn't mind placing some of the hearse expansions here. Some of the hearse garages. Let's do 3. How many per spot do those give us? 9. Do we have any hearses out from this graveyard at the moment? Yeah, see, only 3. When there's a lot of waiting for her. In fact, even last night, one just came home. It's down to 2. Yeah, so I'm not sure if we're suffering with bugs or they just don't care about this particular area. But, you know, we have capacity, but no one wants to go out there and pick these people up. Which is a little annoying. Would like to see them leave. And then I'm also going to put the auditorium just outside of the graveyard here as well. And then we can link all this together with pathways. Come all on the back of these ones. Sweet, we've got a little bit of awkwardness there where the paths are meeting, haven't we? Yeah, it's just what's going to happen with that, I think. Nothing I can do. And then throughout the graveyard, especially between the graves, I think lots of old oak is certainly going to be the vibe. Place through the whole hillside. So I'll get on with placing a lot of burial site filler ones, and then we'll see what the graveyard looks like once it's actually in place, overlooking one of the best views in the city here, to be honest. So as the graveyard begins to take shape, you can see how it begins to look. For lack of a better phrase, it is the aesthetic of mass grave, but not in that context that it sounds. It is just loads of tombstones gradually heading down the hill, and something you could even expand with modularity as well. Every time you need a death care increase, you could just add another kind of geometric block on by drawing the pathways out. So a lot of fun to be had with this Dutch graveyard. Easily the best death care asset the game has received across both games. And then around the town here, I think what is going to happen is we'll just draw out some basic road frames. So from this one here, let's bring this down toward the graveyard. Could actually draw that out as a bit of a marker, which I'm going to do, because then I can plug that in. And I mentioned today I do want a fair bit of population expansion, and I wonder, could we do that? Could. I don't know if we need to. The junction's a bit awkward down here, isn't it? Yeah, I think we'll save that block. So we have these zoning tiles here. And I do want, again, lots of population, so we'll do a mix of medium density apartment buildings alongside some row home blocks, I think, with low density residential taking up these little foothills here, and which will need their road networks drawing out as well. Let's pick out some more of our important corners. We'll have some big blocks here. As long as it all grows in, I'm happy. Let's do a couple of northeast apartments over here too. And would love actually the visual of apartments mixed with row homes, so we'll get some of that growing too. It would be really nice, I think, for CS2 to receive like I can select multiple zones at a time, and then it will just randomly choose from those in a big draw out like that. I think that'd be a much nicer way to mix and match some different styles of building, you know. Maybe that'll come one day. And then fill it all out. We'll also get some mixed use in here as well, considering we have pretty much all demands in Euclid at the minute. After several bug fixes, the demand bars finally seem to have balanced. And perhaps some urban promenades down the main street. It's not a styling we use very often at all. But I think I'll be happy for it to appear really just on the arterial road here, because I think they are quite big dominant buildings, aren't they? Yeah, we can get 6 deep on those. And then I'll keep that going probably down to this first junction here. The second half of the suburb here will certainly be future developments. Likely when we come to address upgrading this into a couplet system, if that's something we decide to do. Spoke on that last episode as well. But either way, I feel like we're ready for a detailing time lapse. Lots of smaller residential here towards the farm tree line before countryside takes back over for us. Finish off the graveyard with a hedge line and the rest of the graves to come into these spaces. And then connect some pathways, and I think that are going to come out of the graveyard, likely linking us back up with the university campus across the creek. And maybe some final adjustments down here. I'm still not totally happy with this interchange here today. I think it's probably due for some refinement. How is it flowing now? Yeah, it's this left turn I don't like. Which, to be honest, doesn't even need to be made, does it? Because if they do want to turn left and get down here, they can go this way. Maybe that is actually the solution, just to say, no thank you there. You're not allowed to turn left if you're coming off that highway. And they still do it anyway. So it doesn't really matter, does it? Maybe he just had his path predetermined. Yeah, they're literally still doing it. Alright, whatever. Whatever. I'll refine it, so I'm happy with it. And lots, of course, of 1.6 texture surface painter work to be had as well. Either way, let's do some Euclid detailing. And then we'll be right back.
But I was
So guys, as we emerge out of the detailing time-lapse, there's been a little bit of a delay with videos on the channel recently. Unfortunately, last week, Coco, my dog, which many of you know from live streams and being involved in my community over the years, was diagnosed with really aggressive liver cancer last Monday and was unfortunately euthanized 2 days later on the Wednesday. In honor of this and my wonderful little brown friend, I've named the graveyard in today's town to Coco's viewpoint, so she can sit and look out across wonderful green fields that she loved so much. Thank you for all of your kind messages on Instagram and YouTube and in the Discord server over the last week or so. I really appreciate it. You're all very kind. Just wanted to kind of leave a homage in here for her anyway, before we check out the rest of the town, which don't forget I still need name suggestions for. So don't forget to leave me those down in the comments as well. Here the graveyard has filled out across the hillside. I've just wanted to leave open green spaces, very minimalist, almost inspired by the the wartime white graves where it is simple path and white marble. It's quite a striking visual, isn't it? And again, just this asset is so good. The sprawl of graves is very realistic, isn't it? And I love its hillside setting as well. The fact we can see the terrain flowing across the graveyard. There's lots of landscaping around it, grass-lined pavements here. But further down, there's lots of landscaping, pathways. The hearses just don't seem to care, despite the fact there is a great need for hearses in the city, alongside garbage as well. We're also missing connections over here. No road access. Are you sure about that? Are you very sure? We had a little bug here. Yeah, very weird. I'm not sure why that's behaving as such. I hadn't noticed that the entire video. wonder why it's done that. Has anyone else had that with the new update? Is everyone alright? Yeah, I'm not surprised you've got no garbage. Yeah, okay. Yeah, anyway, garbage and hearses are a clear issue across the city here. But there are hearses available, so whether or not there's just new deathcare bugs, or Yokeley has had so many updates over the months it's been running now it just no longer functions properly, that could also be a realistic possibility as well. But yeah, the hearses are here, they're just on strike, I guess, is the sort of problem. There's some car parking outside the front of the cemetery as well, for our little burial site graves. Carry on around here. There is also a pathway leading out, and I'll carry this on in a few places, probably over here again as we come down the hillside. I'll make it all walkable from the pedestrian point, lightly continuing to cross over the creek at multiple places. Yeah, I really like it. It's a nice little fun design here. Looking out over the hills. Gone for some of that new texture work. Bit of dirt and sand, almost like, where people have strayed from the pathway. This dirt texture really allows you to paint kind of like desire lines. It's very good. I'm such a big fan of 1.6 for CS2. I've actually been playing a little bit in my spare time, for the first time really, since the game come out, which is an improvement, I suppose. There's commercial and offices down here, varying different forms and styles of zoning. Vanilla base game, northeast, southwest, etc. For the look of the suburb itself, the sprawl of low density is mostly southwest commercial, residential, which again tends to be my go-to. There's blocks of it in orbit of the graveyard. There's cul-de-sac roads tucked in occasionally. A couple of roundabouts down here as well. And very leafy suburb. Again, we're referencing what we see in Ithaca here. The suburbs are getting much greener compared to the density of the bottom of the valley over there. And I think we've captured that quite nicely. It's not only southwest here though, there is a little bit of UK. Which I do find that UK and Southwest American actually mixes quite nicely, just from the zoning point of view, I suppose, more than the plot-in. But yeah, I don't mind them here, just as a bit of a two-story alternative. This borders onto our fields, of course, which take us back into the working farmlands of Yokeley up to the next town over here for context of where we are in the map. There's a school in here. There's a couple of them actually. We needed some high school demand. We've got a basketball centre, which is directly next to the high school. Again, with these assets blending in very nicely in vanilla, right? Orientation will play a wonderful part. So it's all part of the same campus. Really nice. Love this. And there's another building of it across the road as well. Which leads to some really nice street corners. We've got some over here as well we'll check out. And these little pocket parks lend themselves so well to just being chucked on a corner and complemented with kiosk. And then boom, you've just got a really cute little street area. Super effective little parks. I'm a huge fan of these. Same thing over here again as well. If you just want to fill a space, draw out a texture, have some functioning props. It's they're just so welcome. Really versatile assets. There's also bike parking in here too, with detailing around the back, planters, food stands, bins, benches and fountains. With areas around back to more bike parking, and trying to respect the opening of backs of buildings, perhaps where, you know, a delivery vehicle or a garbage truck might turn up once a week to clear the bins out. With complementary detailing and a clock tower over here as well, with some parking near what is mostly Southwest apartments. There's a little bit of Northeast in here occasionally. There you go, once the textures come in. Lots of Southwest row home and a little bit of mixed use through here too. So I'm really happy with it. I really like how the buildings complement each other here. And I think I'm going to keep, if we look kind of along the lateral line here, you can see we've got this kind of medium density crescendo up into the middle of the arterial. I'm going to keep that going all the way down, I think. So lots of mixed use and apartments down Main Street. And then it tapers off into this low density sprawl as we pass by the airport a little bit further down the road as well. It's the general plan with the design here. And I really like it. It's just like town centre, you know. There's the post office is here, the clinic is there. The cafe, the supermarket, it's all down this street. So yeah, big fan of it. And a pretty nice mix of zonings. You know, this looks pretty plopped to me down here. This, I suppose, is the benefit of keeping with sort of different zonable blocks rather than the district styles of CS1. And you can get a real variety of assets down a main street, can't you? So super happy with that. Over here, by the extended high school building, there's more plaza detailing with a little custom playground again, playing with those dirt textures. A little bit of a sandy area for the kids to enjoy here. And you see what's just been worn, and with kids running around it all the time. Just again, how much better does that look? My god, that's so nice to look at. I just can't express everyone how truly happy I am with that surface painter. They did such a good job of it. Such a good job. There's carousel parking here for more apartments, zonings. Even went for some of the office evolution stuff here, which I'm not sure I'm super happy about. I think I need a bit more of it in a bit more of a formation, but I think again for another medium density cube, if you like, within this view here, I could probably tolerate it for the most part. It probably needs to not be next to low density residential. That was probably not a great view for me. But that does bring us to the edge of the build, where I've also started to mess about with some surface paints around the couplet system, which we'll go down and check the ramps in a second as well. But yeah, just starting to toy with some ideas here. The low density sprawl will continue through these frames, of course, so people will live directly under the flight path, very kind of Heathrow-ish, if you like. Definitely get some UK housing underneath this, I think, right? Shout out to the Heathrow people. And then, yes, this will continue up. And then over here, I'm definitely considering, I've already found the asset I want to use, and the conference centre in some grandiose look here from the Bridges and Ports DLC. I think having the conference centre so close to the airport makes a lot of sense. And also having the Bridges and Ports unit building with this very grand, detailable back entrance here at the back, to actually look over the bridge and the port, I think would be quite a thematic orientation. So we'll get involved in some more sort of modular inner suburban builds as this bit of the map continues to develop, I think. There's another high school in here as well, which is completely fully upgraded and totally wrapped up, again, with Southwest low-density residential. And I'm really glad we went with that wrought iron bridge over here as well, after the last episode. Well, it was quite a few episodes ago we put that in, wasn't it? But I think it's already serving as a really nice landmark for this yet to be named town, and especially from the mass grave as well. But even the view up to the Ice Flake Arena there is pretty spectacular, isn't it? I really like that, actually. Got a screenshot of that. Yeah, that's really cool. That's the first time I'm seeing that viewpoint. It's really nice. Gorgeous asset, that arena, isn't it? And then down the couplet system, don't think there's tons of people using it. I know there is, actually, to be fair. It is getting a bit of traffic now. I think because the simulation's so much slower, it takes a while for them to pick up these new routes for when the new agents actually spawn in. But a little bit of free speed here. We'll see how people move around this. Just general giveaway on the entrance there. And again, we can develop these little ramps and slip lanes much more significantly, as we'll see where these little connections are going to start plugging into each other now. As we'll really take inspiration from Ithaca for this hillside. It's a lot of just low density homes, schools on really gnarly terrain. So nothing spectacular, just to fill out the hillside here, on the very edge of the downtown at least. And we've not managed to deform the interchange too much here today. I think it still looks pretty sweet, doesn't it? So yeah, we'll get some surface painter around these interchanges too, and once we come to work on the bottom of the hill. But yeah, I'm happy with it. I think it flows pretty nicely as one of the vehicle maintenance vehicles starts causing traffic, of course. But yeah, fun little configuration. Really nice tiered, elevated interchange work going on around this bit of the city. Yeah, big fan of it. Could sit and look at this all day. Probably the best interchange I've ever built. I know it makes it a lot easier in CS2's road tools, but probably the best vanilla interchange I think we've ever seen on the channel. Either way, everyone, I will shut up and leave it there. Massive shout out to the YouTube members and patrons that bankroll these videos. If you're interested in that, links down below to Patreon and Instant Gaming are the best ways to help support the channel, if you are so inclined. Again, just a quick thank you for all the really kind messages and comments you left me about Coco. It's very heartwarming to have such a loving, kind and caring community. It means a real great deal to me. Please just bear with me if productions are a little slower than usual in the weeks after Coco's passing. I am quite upset, as you can probably tell, just with the general quietness on the channel. But thank you for bearing with me. I'll see you next time. Hang around for some cinematics, and I'll shut up and leave it there. I thank you all again so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.